Now, with the other eyeball, since this one is bigger than the other one, you can kind of reference like a normal eyeball on this one. And then, because his eye's like that, and he's missing his eyebrow, so, make sure that you can reference it, I guess. Again, like, it's hard to explain because you can't exactly reference everything. Now what I do is I make sure that I always have my reference photo. And I'll show you guys my one reference photo that I'm using at this moment, which is... let me find it because I was just using it. I use this a lot. Hold on. I use this one a lot for reference, if you guys are getting that. Which is just basically him at the season finale. And it gives good expression to show how his eye is. And, like, it's weird because his eye kind of goes like that. So, sometimes you really need to work on certain things with it. And, like, I just saw right there, I messed up, so I'm erasing. Even, like the world's greatest artists, they mess up all the time. That's what makes them the best, because they can recover from their mistakes and move past and make it better. And what you do is, since you messed up this time, you just do the same thing. Get your eye right there. Kind of curl it up. In his eye, like that one, he always looks like he's angry with it. Yeah, so, you just... it takes a lot of time and a lot of effort, like I said. And for some reason, I guess, his other eye is... it's taller. So, just, just work on it. It takes a lot of effort, like I said. A lot of time, a lot of effort, And make sure when you draw in the eye, just draw like a little circle. It's the easiest thing to do. Just draw a little circle inside of it. The rest will follow if you just do that. You draw that part, and the black part's going to be even smaller. Even though it encompasses most of his eye, you're going to draw the whole thing. And you're going to draw another white circle on the outside of it. So what I would do, I would draw a small black circle, then kind of do like a crescent moon shape with it. Like that. I don't know if you can see it on the paper, but that's similar to what it looks like. And also what I noticed is his chin looks a lot different. So what you want to do is you want to make it more robust rather than slanty, like I showed you. And what that would be, just, it takes time to mess with the chins and stuff. Like I said, the chins for me are the hardest part. And I mean, I'm sure there are people that are like, oh, that's the easy part. What are you talking about, man? Just take the time, draw his cheekbone, because it goes out and back in. I'm sorry. Out and back in. That's what I forgot to mention. Cheekbones always go out and back in. Now, you might not be able to fully physically see them in a picture, but it takes a long time to do it. Okay, so now that we're past that, oh yeah, part about the eye. Now this is, for me, what I do is his eye, because his is an anime eye, so his is more like broad, I guess is the word, and is, you draw a line on the bottom, and, you only draw like half a line technically. It's like kind of at the base of it, and then you would draw like a backward 7, I guess. Or actually a lot of forward 7, and that gives you that anime feel where it's like it's that broad line. It's like that stream-like flow to it. And then when you're done with that, you draw the circle. You know, once again, it takes a long time to practice the circles. You know, just make sure you get a nice, even circle. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then you draw that black part of his eye. And then you draw that white spot that he has, which is, I guess, the gleam. And that's about it for the eyes. For his eyebrows, it goes like a wave. Like a wave, that's it, like a wave. Nice and streamlined, because it's kind of... It's not like this in the picture, but, you know, so it waves. And I'll show you what it looks like so far. If you're doing it right, you should have this so far. I know, I'm sorry about the chin, guys. It is really hard when it's, you know, it's close, so that's what's important about it, if it's close. Like I said, nobody's perfect, but I love to draw this character, and I redraw and redraw and redraw and redraw and redraw and redraw and redraw. So, then we're going to get to the fun part, which is the scar. Now, what you're going to do is, since his scar isn't exactly even with his face, that's why his eye goes like upwards. So it goes like that, you know. So that means the scar kind of goes upwards and outwards, so it goes. What you do is you start in the middle where eventually your nose is going to be. And from what you can see in the drawings, like in the season show, most of the time, depending on if his hair is long or not, now it's debated upon still whether it's completely even. So, and this is just the basis for it now. You can have like that. And it's gonna get better, I promise you. Don't worry, you'll see when it's finished. And his inside eye, his inside is darker because it was more of a burn. I guess it was more. So you want to draw it kind of similar shaped to his eye, and kind of want to do like this, kind of like a flame. And for now, we'll leave it like that. So, now that that's finished, we're going to draw his nose. Now, like, you can see in real life how, like, a nose has shading, and that's how you can tell this is here. But now, like, in cartoons, it's, like, just this, or, like, a line in a nose. But for this individual picture, it's just this part here. And there's, you know, so what you're going to do is, you're going to draw... You're gonna make sure, what I do is I draw a line just so I know where the nose is. I draw kind of like the nose's shape, and then I erase it later depending on if I need it. So like that. Just make sure that you have the nose. It's just the basis about it. And then you draw like the nostril flare, and then you just draw the nostrils themselves, and then you erase the rest of it because you don't need it. And once you're done with that, we'll come back to that eventually and shade it. And another important thing about the scar is he has lines because it's kind of like his skin folded, like it kind of hurts like that. So kind of like what happens when you get old and you see like old people have like the wrinkly skin. I guess it's because their skin gets worn out, so I guess like fire like wears your skin out. I don't know, I'm not a scientist. But you know, just make sure it doesn't exactly completely matter where you draw them, but just they're important to the picture. So just make sure they're there. They don't have to be in the exact spots, because I've noticed in the cartoon it changes sometimes, other times it stays the same, all depending on the, you know, what's going on. And I think it probably just has to do with the way his skin reacted to the burn, I guess would be the word. Okay, now we have that. That's the non-important, existent part. We've basically gotten through the hardest parts. The rest is the easy part, like the mouth, hair. This is the fun part for me. Now, you're gonna judge the mouth would be about, you'd see about here. Now that's why I draw on line paper, so I'd be like, okay, if I drew myself on line paper, I'd be about 3 cuts on the paper. So I would want to draw my mouth on the 3rd cut of the paper. Now Zuko's mouth, he doesn't have like lips like this, or like any people lips, I guess is the word. Yeah, like you don't see his lips really, because it's just like, you know, and for me, I have bolder lips. Don't ask for like genetics and crap. So yeah, and what you're gonna do is, you're gonna want to draw his mouth about right there. If you can see that, right below his nose. So like I said, like 3rd slit from his nose, and it kind of curves up. Then back down and up. Now you gotta make sure that it's really even, otherwise it's gonna look stupid. You know, it doesn't exactly have to be the exact same thing, but you know, just make sure it's there. Just make sure it's visible. Make sure it's not too bold, otherwise he's going to look like he's wearing black lip gloss. Alright, and he's got like a little thing right there, which is his chin. That's about a line under, so you want to make like a C. And kind of like a... We're going to draw that in later. Okay, now comes the ears. Zuko's left ear is deformed partially, so it's a little bit smaller than the other one. And you're going to want to draw it right about where you drew your first line. Or a little over your first line of your picture. I think. Don't quote me on it, I won't look good yet. Okay. Now same thing, just make his left ear look the same as his right ear. The only difference is one's a little smaller than the other because the burn, I guess, like messed it up. Like I said, I don't know. I'm not an exact person to ask about this. So it kind of goes in, down, out. And it's okay because most of his ear is going to be covered up in the drawing anyway, so you don't even have to draw them if you don't want to. It just gives it the fullness of it, I guess, would be the word. So in, out, down, out. About here. So this is it. Let me draw that here. There, yeah. I think the only part that's really ever visible of his ear is like right there.